I've been playing DK Bonanza. I beat it last week. I am now at 100% completion mode where I'm just trying to find all the fossils, trying to find all the bananas, and yeah, trying to unlock almost every single costume and just everything that is unlockable in this game. First and foremost, a history on DK 3D, Donkey Kong 64. Some like it, others hate it. I guess you can call it a cult classic because of that characteristic, but that was essentially my introduction into platformers outside of Mario. 3D platforming was essentially mastered. Now I'm just talking to my mastered by Nintendo, specifically the Mario games. Now, after first hearing that we were going to get a 3D Donkey Kong, I was ecstatic. I was inconsolable. I was waiting for this game for 16 plus years. I can't recall when the DK64 game came out, but I know it was quite a long time. As someone who grew up with the Nintendo 64, it was a long time coming. At the same time, I was very cautiously optimistic about this game because I think that developers have to be, in order to be very good at a certain genre of a game, they need to be masters of their craft. If you hire someone that does games games across multiple genres, it's going to be very hard for them to really put out a good 3D platformer. And 3D platforming, in my opinion, is a type of gaming genre that is very, very tough to really hit on the nail. Hit on the nail? Bro, I'm just talking out my ass today to really hit the nail on its head because it's such a complex game design and it has so many moving elements and it has so much to be considered that if you already don't have a good foundational knowledge on the genre, it's just really hard to make a good 3D platforming game. Throughout the Nintendo 64, there were a myriad of 3D platforming games that were just not good because they were all trying to mimic and follow the footsteps of Mario 64. Mario 64, don't get me wrong, wasn't the perfect 3D platformer, but it really did master a lot of the elements that to this day are still used to in modern 3D platforming games. So I got a good exposure to really bad 3D platforming games very early on, and it made me sort of wary of 3D platforming games from the get-go. If it wasn't a Nintendo, a mainline first-party Nintendo 3D platformer, I probably wasn't going to enjoy it. So I was very wary. Even though I knew this was going to be a first-party game, I just was hoping and expecting the Mario Odyssey team to be behind this game. And once I found that out, I was all in on it. So my expectations were already extremely high. And that's one thing that I tend to not do. I tend to keep my expectations low just so I'm surprised more than anything and I'm not left disappointed. And that's exactly what DK Bonanza did. From the first second that I booted up this game, I was like, I'm in for a ride. I'm in for quite a ride. From the get-go, I was so excited to see that we finally have a game that rewards exploration. There's not a single way for you to find these bananas, to find these collectibles. Even though most of the game is sort of linear, the worlds that the game places you in, it's not linear. It's essentially a sandbox type of game where you can just go and find what you want. Pretty much how Mario Odyssey was. It's a 3D level. You get to explore it however you want for the most part in Mario Odyssey, but in this one, it is in any way that you want. There are obviously signs here and there that will tell you, hey, mostly environmental signs that will tell you, hey, this is the way you should be going to find this banana. This is the way you should be going to find this fossil, to find this secret, to find this treasure chest, whatever it may be. But it's not the way you should be doing it. You can just punch your way through the world and essentially find everything. I found that I want to say like 60 to 70% of the bananas that I found throughout my playthrough were from me just using my radar and just smashing through walls. But at the same time, every time I would find a banana or whatever through just me punching through the game, never felt unrewarding, even though it was kind of lazy on my part from that perspective of exploration. But at the same time, I was like, wow, I found this thing through my own merit. I didn't have to have any clues. I didn't have to be nudged in that way. And I never felt punished for exploring the way that I like to explore some of these games. I'm a little bit OCD when it comes to that, and I'm not using that term lightly. I legitimately have a mild form of obsessive compulsiveness. When I was a kid, anytime I touched my nose with my left hand, I had to do it with my right hand as well. Anytime I stepped 5 steps with my left leg, I had to do it with my right leg. It got to a point where it was pretty unmanageable early on. I've been able to kind of reel that in for a little bit, but I still, every time I approach something, especially a game like DK Bonanza, I have to make sure that I've explored every single bit of every single level before I can go to the next sub layer. It was a little bit of a hell for me to get through this game, but making it so the game rewards the way that you play a game, because I'm sure there's many people that play this game without a care in the world about whether they've explored the full level or not. It doesn't really matter. There's no limiting banana limit there. You don't need a certain amount of bananas to get through the next layer. There's not a specific amount of collectibles, or there's not a specific thing you have to do per level to get to the next part of the level. I've seen people completely skip the lagoon layer. You know, in that lagoon layer, you have to essentially unclog the top layer so all the water falls down, and it, you know, brings up a bridge that gets you to the Elder. I've seen people completely skip that part by building a bridge of dirt across the level, and I find that incredible. I find that the game design that allows you to explore this way, sandboxy games that allow you to explore this game without constraining you to what was designed, to the way that the developers wanted you to solve these puzzles, is incredible to me. Just giving people that freedom, quote unquote freedom, of exploring that way, making it so the base mechanics of the game already make it possible for you to complete a full level, complete, you know, the whole game essentially, is incredible to me. Because even though I enjoy unlocking things, increasing my skill tree and whatnot, I appreciate when games give you the tools necessary to beat a game right off the bat. That's why I love Breath of the Wild. That's why I love Tears of the Kingdom. That's why I love, for the most part, open world games. Truly open world games. I'm not talking about Rockstar open world games where one can argue is not really open world, since they force you to go through certain checkboxes. But that's why I've always been attracted and driven to play these games, such as Elden Ring. Even Elden Ring, in a way, is that world opening, and it's why I truly enjoy DK Bonanza, because I was not expecting that level of game design, that level of freedom from a 3D Donkey Kong game. So right off the bat, right before I even started the game, right at the first level, I was already amazed. This is essentially a worthy sequel and prequel to Mario Odyssey, and I feel deep in my bones that this game will have the same longevity and the same replayability as Mario Odyssey, as Mario 64, as all of the 3D platforming games that Nintendo has released to this day. We have on our hands a truly new classic in 3D platforming, and I cannot wait to see the speedruns of this game. It is a classic already, in my opinion, and I'm just very excited for the future of Donkey Kong now, because I feel that for the longest time Donkey Kong had been neglected from his mainline story games. We had Tropical Freeze, we had Donkey Kong Country Returns, yes, but 3D platforming Donkey Kong is a beast of its own, and it had been in the vault for such a long time. And I'm just happy that Nintendo sees the potential in that and is going all forward with Donkey Kong games. This game also has extremely well character development, and it's a game where it's actually prioritized. I'm not gonna say that Nintendo has the best character development in all of their first party games, because they don't. In my opinion, even though I love the Zelda series, I still think that Link is a very boring character. I never see this kid, I guess he's a man in Breath of the Wild. I never see his character be developed in any meaningful ways. And it really irks me, because everything around him is evolving, constantly evolving. But I hate how bland and how blank he is. I understand the thought process behind it. The developers want everybody to feel relatable to Link, and give Link a personality of their own. You know, he's a blank slate, essentially. He is you. But still, I've never liked a little care Nintendo gives to a lot of its mainline characters. I love Mario, but he's as one-dimensional as his first games, you know? Peach, I'm tired of her always being in distress, always being this damsel in distress. It's the same thing over and over again. This and DK Bonanza, they actually prioritized character development, not just for Donkey Kong, even though he's a little bit simplistic, I'm not gonna lie. But Pauline, I felt so emotionally attached to Pauline because of the storytelling. Every time you unlocked a camp in the levels, and you went to sleep, and Pauline would tell you a little story, or she would express her emotions in a way that a teenager would, you know? Someone who's actually scared, and someone who doesn't understand what's going on and doesn't really understand her true potential. And then at the end, spoilers, she understands her power. She understands that her singing needs to be used for good, and it is not something to shy away from. She needs to embrace that. And at the end of the game, I'm like, wow, she is a superhero. She is the main character of the DK Bonanza game. It's not about Donkey Kong. It's not about any of the Kongs. It's not about the main enemy. It is about Pauline. This is a Pauline origin story through and through. I loved the ending. I loved the way that Pauline becomes this bigger than even Donkey Kong character, and it really personifies and gives such a good character to the Pauline that we know from Odyssey. We didn't know a lot about Pauline in Mario Odyssey, except that she's the mayor of one of the biggest cities in the Mushroom Kingdom, I guess. I really don't understand the politics of the Mario world. They still have a princess, but at the same time they have a mayor. Like, is she a different kingdom? Like, Princess Peach doesn't have any jurisdiction over New Donk City? I don't know. Really confused about that. But it's made me appreciate the character of Pauline way more than, let's say, Peach, and even Mario to a certain degree. But not only that, even the Kongs, the evil Kongs within this story. Spoiler, I'm going to be giving out spoilers, by the way. This is a review. This is a third review. By the end of the game, you become friends with some of these enemies. And just seeing that these people, these Kongs, they're not really people, I guess. They're animals, have desires and have ambitions of their own. And the thought process behind them made them so relatable, especially Poppy Kong. If I'm not getting paid enough, I'm not going to be doing it. If my boss is an incompetent, crazy person, I can't get behind that. I don't get paid enough to further your dreams and goals when I don't agree with them. I appreciate that. I appreciated the character development behind those characters. And, you know, Nintendo could have gone the easy way out and just been like, oh yeah, these people are just evil, these enemies are just evil, and they're just gonna go down with their boss. No, there's so many layers now to the relationships, even between the villains, between the heroes. Character development is highly prioritized in DK Bonanza, and that's something that I truly appreciate. The game has so much personality and charisma. Like, Nintendo did such an amazing job with the music, with the levels, with the character designs, with the animations. I've never seen DK have so much personality in their face. At first I wasn't a big fan of the rare Donkey Kong, even though I grew up with him. I just never really liked him. It really made me hard to understand DK's personality, to understand DK's ambitions and whatever it may be. I know he's a very simplistic character, but in this game they really did expand that, and it's through the charisma and it's through the personality that they injected into every single character, every single villain, every single level. The music, the world, everything is thoroughly thought out. It is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, 3D platforming games of all time. Right there with Super Mario 64, right there with Sunshine, right there with Galaxy. It is just an incredibly charismatic game. You inject personality and charisma into your game, I'm probably gonna like it. Well, it also has to have good mechanics, obviously, and good level design. They did a good job at making feel the world and the environments as chunky. Punching through a level, punching through a mountain, punching through any kind of material feels so rewarding in such a primal way. Like it itches kind of like my reptile brain, or I guess it's my monkey brain. I don't know. I'm not a neurologist, but it feels so good to just break things and just go through the world with no care in the world. Because essentially they did make Donkey Kong overpowered. Like he is a gorilla. He is a strong animal. I don't know if you know about this, but gorillas are incredibly powerful animals. You should never try and square up with one. And them honestly giving Donkey Kong that much power in this game feels, I don't know, feels right. And I'm glad that they were able to translate that feeling of you crashing through mountains and just, you know, falling down layers and just crash landing, making sort of like a crater anywhere you land. Feels so good. It gives Donkey Kong so much weight and so much power that it actually made me feel that I could tackle almost any challenge in a subconscious type of way. Diversity of game mechanics make the exploration and battling so fun and so diverse. I'm sorry for the redundancy. The Bonanza forms, the, you know, being able to turn into a Kong, being able to turn into a zebra, being able to turn into many other animals, which, I mean, I kind of already spoiled a lot of the game, but I'm not going to spoil all of the forms. It made the game feel way more diverse. Now you're giving Donkey Kong a character that only essentially has his fists and his body, in essence, to attack enemies, to explore the world. It opens up so much. As a zebra, you can run fast, you can go across crumbling bridges. As a Kong, you can really smash your way through almost any type of material, any type of element in the world. Ostrich, being able to fly and kind of drop bombs on your enemies, just it added that Breath of the Wild strategy to this game, where there's no one way for you to defeat a group of enemies. Now you can fly above them and drop eggs on top of them. Now you can turn into a zebra and just run and you know, tackle them out of your way. Like there's so many ways that you can attack these enemies. There's so many ways now that you can traverse this world, that the Bonanza mechanic part of the game makes this a fully diverse and dynamic world. Just incredible. Just kudos to the developers on adding these modes, because it made what is already essentially a very fun gameplay loop into 20,000 different gameplay loops now, because every single one has its style and every single person across the world is going to get through these levels in their own way. Now you gave the players so many options. Just incredible. However, not everything about this game is good. There's no perfect game, but I'm going to be very honest with you right now. I cannot think of a single bad thing from this game. A single thing that I did not like about this game. I'm being very honest right now. I'm not joking. There's not a single thing that I did not like about my playthrough. I literally sat down when I was writing this outline for this review, trying to really think. I have very bad ADHD. It got so bad that I wasted 2 hours just trying to come up with one thing that I did not like. And I just can't think of anything bad at all, because I like everything. I like the set design. I like the characters, set design, the world design. This isn't a movie. I like the characters. I like the villains. I like the mechanics. I like the worlds. I like the music. I like the personality. I like everything about this game. And I was really trying to rack my brain about what was a portion of the game where I was like, I can't wait to be done with this, because this is so boring. I never found myself having any just downtime throughout the playthrough of this game. I just wanted to keep playing. I had to stop because of personal responsibilities every time I booted up this game. There was not a single portion, not a single layer. There was nothing about this game that made me want to stop playing. Nothing. Not even, because there are certain parts of this game that are quite challenging. I did not even find the challenging portions of this game annoying. There's a difference between difficult and challenging. Challenging is good. Difficult there has to be a reason behind that difficulty. If it's just there to be difficult, then it's just annoying. Even the portions that I kind of found extremely challenging to a point where I was like, okay, this is very annoying. There just wasn't anything that was telling me to put the game down. If you haven't played this game, I urge you to put any game that you're playing right now and get to this game. I'm not joking. Donkey Kong Bonanza is my game of the year. You let me know down in the comments below what you think about this game, because I am really interested to see what people think about this game. You like this video, if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to give us a like and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, go ahead and get a thumbs down, because believe it or not, every single bit helps. Please make sure to rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure to follow us on Spotify. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast feed on Apple Podcast. Make sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcast, because that is very, very important for me on the algorithm to make sure that we're getting, discovered by new people. And yeah, please make sure to follow me on all my socials. They're linked down below. Please make sure to follow me on Blue Sky, where I spend most of my waking hours. Talk about gaming, talk about anime, talk about sports, talk about anything and everything that might interest you as my viewer. But folks, please take care of one another, but most importantly, take care of yourself. Peace.